Nate Watt. Shout out Sonny Pache.
God, I wish I could be like him.
All right, I love you, buddy.
Good. Is it good or is it great?
I was the best part of the band.
Arms cut off.
Too drunk.
Be lazy.
Here's to him.
It'd be the hardest question.
Don't even finish it. Yep.
Can you tell me that?
I'm not gonna say.
And shit, I'll handle it.
It was getting a little tense.
Wagwan, Benny G here. I'm the drummer, and I pretty much learned how to play the drums for this band.
I'm Luke Artis. I play the guitar for the Birds.
I'm Dale, trumpet player.
Yeah, so my name is Ross. Played the keyboard in For the Birds, and I was the hype man as well.
Well, I'm Blake, obviously, and I was the vocalist and played guitar.
My name is Mike Fenton, and I played bass in For the Birds.
I'm originally from PA. I was just born there. I spent a couple years there. And then I moved to Friendsville and spent most of my life in Friendsville, Maryland. I actually really don't fully remember how I met Mike, but Mike Fenton was the first one I talked to about the band. It was at Mountain State Brewing. It was on St. Patty's Day, drinking a lot, kind of partying. Yeah, me and Mike just talked about, how much we both love music, and I was really pushing him. I was like, let's do this. Let's play music. I want someone to play in a band with. And Mike was a talented guy. And I was drunk on St. Patty's Day and talked to Mike. And then the band kind of started forming from there.
Yeah, I didn't grow up around here. I moved here in 2016, and I met a lot of them through, I used to live on Deep Creek Drive. My wife worked at Black Bear. And so that's how I met Ross, because his family owns the Black Bear. He worked there as well. And then I met Ben at Ken's Irish Pub doing open mic nights there with our mutual friend Nate Watt. Shout out Sonny Pache. Everybody else, just over the years from going out, I didn't realize everybody was into music, other than Ross, because him and I used to do open mic nights together back in like 2016, 2017. St. Patrick's Day of 2021, we all got together at Mountain State, got hammered drunk, and decided that we were going to have band practice the following week. And I walked up to my 8-month pregnant wife, and I was like, we're gonna start a band. And then after that, the rest, just kind of went from there.
I moved here 12 years ago, and then I kind of started meeting a bunch of people. And over about the last 6 or 7 years, I met a bunch of people who were into music. They were talking about starting a band. And by that, I mean Mike Fenton and Luke. They were like the ones that wanted to start the band. They were like, do you know a singer? And so I was like, yes, I do. Because I had worked with Blake. And so Blake, we used to jam a little bit. And one day he started singing. I was like, oh my God, this guy has pipes. He can sing. And so we got a core 4 people together. We got a singer, a bass player, a guitarist, and a drummer together. And then we were like, well, how can we make this sound bigger? Dale, unbeknownst to a lot of us, played the trumpet back in the day and could read music. And we were like, all right, Dale, well, come fucking learn how to play the learn how to play the trumpet again and join us on stage. And lo and behold, he did. And we got Ross as well, because he was originally supposed to be rapping. We were gonna do rap songs as well. You know what I mean? Like kind of hip hop, funk, jazz type deal. And then he was like, well, I can play the keys. And so he got on the keyboard and learned how to play that again and started playing the keys. And then we just kind of formed a band that took off like a rocket ship.
Yeah, well, born and raised here, so I've been here all my life. Lived in Ocean City for a year, but came back. And then I met Ben and all that. And that was just just hanging out with Benny G all the time and getting to know Mike better. And then I went to school with Luke and all his siblings, so we all knew each other very well. And Andrew Dale, I knew him. I can't remember where I first met him, but we've all known each other for a good long time. So
if I am right, yeah, I am right. I'm the only outsider from the band. I grew up in Northern Virginia, and all these guys grew up around here. When I was younger, we would come vacation here. Obviously, my parents got involved with the place, so I moved here and made some of the best friends of my life. We're getting together and jamming, and so I wanted to contribute, and they knew that I was musical. I didn't really excel at anything, but I could play keyboard a little bit and back them up. So yeah.
Oh, no. I grew up in Oakland, just out of Deep Creek. Lived in Deep Creek my whole adult life. Love it here. It's very nice. I played music through high school, all grade school, honestly. I was always a trumpet player. Also enjoyed percussion, but trumpet was my main expertise, if you will. I actually stopped playing after high school, and a couple of guys in the band said they needed a brass player, so I dug my trumpet back out and brushed the dust off of it and got back in the game. It was fun.
Yeah, music has been my main hobby my whole life. So I've always done music. Outside of that, I've always worked a lot. I was a chef before I got into real estate. Now I'm a real estate agent, and I have, 2 kids, so that takes up plenty of time. And but if I'm not doing one of those 3 things, I usually like to go for long walks.
Adventure sports guy. That's what I went to college for. Rock climbing, anything adventure sports I'm in. Big snowboarder. The snow industry is a big part of my life. Even though I'm getting old, can't do it like I used to. And anything outdoors, love it.
Yeah, I'm not too proud of I like to game. I like to watch movies. I like to be lazy. That's kind of my shtick, But other than that, just, when I get done work, sometimes I'll work some more and, fixing up the house and just trying to make everything a little nicer. Hasn't always been like that, but.
I'm sure more than half the band said, snowboarding. I love snowboarding. I used to like skateboarding. I like playing golf. Yeah.
At that point in time, and still at this point in time, I am a kayaker. I kayak. I am a river rat. I love the river. That is it.
Well, I'm into a lot of things. My favorite thing right now is playing music. I'm still playing music every day. Snowboarding. Just recently got into whitewater kayaking. I play video games. I'm in school right now, so now I'm doing school. But yeah, no, I like to try to do as much as I can.
No, that's a good question because it was, 5 and then 6 of us, and the text thread was always going like, who can do this day, and then until we set a day. I was working the Wisp and then working the golf course, 1,000 acres down the street. I mean, once we picked a day, we were all able to coordinate, and whether it was in this room or down the street, a few different places, once we made it worked out.
So I've been in a couple bands. When I was in high school, I was in a metal band. It was around that time that I started working in a kitchen as a chef. There was a conflict of interest there because you work nights and weekends when you're in the restaurant industry. So I wound up having to leave that band. When I moved up here to Deep Creek Lake, I was in real estate, which I still worked weekends, but usually people aren't looking at houses in the evening. So it was a really good mix of I would just work during the day in real estate, and then in the evening times we would have band practice when everybody else was done work too. Played on the weekends. It was a perfect fit.
So working for the birds. So, I mean, it really wasn't super difficult to, figure out, because I think we practiced once a week. I had a full-time job painting 5 days a week, and, it wasn't difficult. I think the most difficult thing was getting 5 guys to pick a night to practice. I think that was probably the hardest part.
It was actually kind of easy to balance everything when I was in the band. I was homeless the whole time I was in the band, pretty much. I lived in my tent. It was kind of weird. Got kicked out of our house, and I just kind of vagabonded it for a while and didn't have to worry about expenditures. I mean, obviously, I still had my normal job at Mountain State Brewing, which I love. It's a great time, bartending and serving. As I said, the manager of the terrain park. It takes up a lot of my time in the winter. It's very... Ben, sorry, so it's okay. The drummer is a problem. The drummer is a problem. And the reason that we're doing this interview right now is because of Ben. Ben Gordon, he's the drummer. He's nothing but trouble. Super easy. It was great. I didn't have many extracurriculars going on. It was fun. Honestly, the band was the highlight of my week. Twice a week, had band practice, work every day, band practice at night, hang out with my friends. Good times.
10 years, I was a cook for 10 years at Moonshadow with Benny Gordon, and Luke did work there briefly too. Yeah, 10 years I did that, and that's how I got so close with Ben, working with him. When COVID happened and everyone got laid off, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me because now I don't cook anymore. And after being laid off, and then of course this all comes to fruition, Mike wants to start a band. Ben has been texting me for months and months and months about it, and then finally Mike comes along. So I didn't have a job at the time. Besides, once a week I would do some farm work for one of my relatives, and it was just, a little pocket cash. But Yeah, I had the pleasure that entire time to be kind of unemployed and living off of what the stimulus they did and all that. I mean, I squandered it away pretty quick, but that was cool. That was cool that I had all that free time to, and it still never seemed like enough time, you know, to practice and get better. And
Oh shit, that was tricky. My work life, I was busy. I was busy doing landscaping in the area.
I mean, I'll tell you what I remember from it. It was me and Ben at his house where Luke lives now. This is how I remember it. It's nothing glamorous or exciting or anything. I looked up in the sky and I just said, look at all those birds. And Benny G looks over and just goes, for the birds. And that was it.
We went through a lot of names. We went through it was like shows that we did that weren't really shows. I guess they were at friends' houses and stuff like that. We were like the no-name band, or like this fucking thing or that fucking thing, you know, but nothing stuck. I think one day I was like, okay, you know, our music's for the birds. You know, it's for the birds, for the birds. And then we all started talking about how we could change that up, and I think it came to Fur the Birds, F-U-R. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but that's just kind of how it evolved from For the Birds to Fur the Birds. And then it just stuck. Love it or like it or hate it, I don't know. But yeah, that was our name. We rolled with it. So
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. I'm pretty sure Ross and Mike had something to do with that. I wasn't an original band member. They pulled me in once they all realized I used to play trumpet. They already had the band for about 6-7 months before I was invited to be a part of For the Birds. And at that time, they already had the name locked down.
Absolutely random. I think it was like a couple month long process and we came up with some gems. And then of course the text thread is going through it too and trying to find the perfect one. And I think we tricked ourselves out of picking like a great one and we just got in our heads about it too much. And then eventually I think it was For the Birds, and then it was FIR the Birds, and then someone said For the Birds with a U, and we're all like, fuck it, it works. So yeah.
Well, we spent a lot of time trying to come up with a band name, and nothing stuck. And this one was pretty random, and it stuck.
That's a good question. I don't know if I fully remember how that happened. Yeah, because I don't know if we picked the band name in the beginning, because in the beginning of the band, it was just a couple of us. I honestly cannot remember exactly how it came along. I think it was Ross's, our keyboard player. I think it was his girlfriend. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was her. I could be wrong. Hope I'm not wrong. Okay. But I could be. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the logo for the band came around with, and I could be wrong, Ross's girlfriend, Amanda. She kind of headlined all of our, I don't even know what you would call it, all of our swag. Every poster, kind of like the digital marketing for the band. She headlined everything for that. She made all our posters, the logo. Great job, too. I mean, she knows what she's doing. And it was fun. She'd kind of bounce ideas off of us, and I think we all agreed on, at the end of it, what it would be, and turned out pretty good.
That was all Amanda, Ross's girlfriend. She's amazing. She did all the graphics. She did so much. The graphics and like printing out posters and all the social media and stuff. She did all that stuff. And then Mike, I think, was a cohort in it too. So Mike was always like really on top of things, you know. He was really, really organized and made up for the lack thereof, you know, and the rest of us organization-wise. So
we technically hired her, Ross's girlfriend Amanda. She did all of our marketing, and she split up the take that we got from all the shows. She did all of our designs, including the logo.
man, that would be Amanda. Did a lot of work for us. She was behind the scenes, fucking cutting it up, dude. She got mugs for us. She did some of the logo designs. There were a couple people that were doing logo designs, I think, but she was the one that got just the writing. We didn't really get, she was the one that put it on that hat with an FTB, but our logo was primarily just For the Birds with a cool font.
So my girlfriend is talented at everything she does. She probably could have been in the band and been better than me. Yeah, she's a graphic artist as well as many other things. It was kind of just doodling at first. Some of the designs we were all blown away with. So we were like, all right, t-shirts, stickers, posters, hats, let's do it. And people bought them. And I know a few people who have them hanging up in their house. So I have some. So yeah.
Well, first of all, we got the singer, Blake, the pipes. Old wild card. That motherfucker is touched in a special way with being able to sing like that. He can also be a firecracker, and he's just a love bug. I would say Blake the love bug.
I'm gonna start with Blake. Hilarious guy. He was absolutely so funny. Always made me laugh so hard. Also, he had a beautiful voice. Probably still does. I haven't seen him for a while, but yeah, Blake was just so super talented. Funny too. I think I said that, but yeah, he's funny.
Blake, loose cannon. We'll call Blake a loose cannon, but boy had some pipes. He could sing anything.
Blake was the singer, and he I don't think he realized how good he was.
Blake is my brother. Blake has, one of the nicest hearts at times. God, his voice. Sometimes we would practice and he could sound like the actual song. And he's a shithead.
Yeah, and me. And then, that's just, I don't know.
Then you got Luke, the simple man. He's stoked to be there, always focused on the music. Doesn't have much to say sometimes, but when he says it, means a lot.
Luke's a free spirit. His guitar skills were something I would almost laugh about because they were so good. He's unstoppable. Anything that he wanted to do, he could think it and it would come out in his hands on the guitar. And it was amazing. Just any jam session that we did, and Luke would be laying in the middle of the floor with his eyes closed, just playing the guitar. It's stuff you would dream of.
Luke, pretty cool guy. And he's a sweetheart.
So Luke, artist, a savant, little shithead, younger brother mentality, love him to death, would die for him. He's too good at everything he tries, just too good. Pisses you off.
Mike is a very straightforward, hardworking guy, fantastic musician. In the beginning of For the Birds, that's why I was like really stoked on trying to start something with him, because he takes everything that he does super serious. So great guy.
And then Mike was just, like I said, the rock. He's always, on top of things, really smart, really just had things laid out. Going back, I would love to have shared a little bit of his preparedness, I'm not sure the word for that, but he was always really motivated and precise, and there's a good word for it, I just can't think of it. But
Mike Fenton, what can I say, man? Another savant. He would hate to hear me say that. Talented at anything he tries. And not only is he talented to start off with, his drive is can make anyone jealous. Even if he thinks he's not good at it, which he is, he's good enough to piss everybody else off. But if he thinks he's not good at it, he will work harder than anyone else to get better and better and better. God, I wish I could be like him.
Mike, I don't mean this in a bad way, but he was the dad of the band. Whatever Mike said goes, but he knew his shit. If you had a question, you asked Mike. Mike knew what was up, whether it was being on time, on beat, electronic issues, working mics, working rhythms, working songs. Mike knows everything there is to know in and out about it. He was the godfather of the band. It was great.
Then you got Mike. Mike is the leader. He was the guy that really put it all together. If it weren't for Mike, I think we wouldn't have gotten to the point where we got to.
I took on a leadership role. Nobody asked me to, but that's just how I am. Everybody was laid back except me. And Ben. And I say that because Ben's just really hard on himself. He wasn't trying to push everybody else around or anything. He's just, he was just very serious about it, as he is with everything in his life. So that's why he's pretty good at things.
Benny, he's bubbly, exciting. I love him.
Benny shits on the drums, just the man. Reminds me, I have two older brothers, and he's kind of like a mix between them. Gives off that energy, but doesn't. He has your back, and he's the man. And he's a madman on the drums, and he would get so pissed off.
Benny G on the drums, he's tight. Great drummer, had a lot of drive. I'd say it in his own words, he lives on the one beat. He's definitely a ska, punk, reggae drummer, but he adapted to any situation that there was, and he played them all great. The guy's amazing.
Ben, a good buddy of mine. I love Ben. He's funny, talented. It's I look at him as like an older brother, kind of. Yeah, fantastic drummer.
Ross was the motherfucking energy master. He was the fucking guy to hype everybody up. I mean, when energy was low, Ross comes in and he's like, let's go, and would hype everybody up, and it would just bring that added extra element of just excitedness that made us perform that much better and made our shows that much more electrifying. I mean, you look on any of the videos, Ross is hyping everybody up after their solos, after they nail a hard part that they've been fucking up in practice. You know what I mean? So, hype guy. Ross is the hype guy.
Ross? Man, I don't even remember when I first met Ross. I somehow like just know Ross. I think it's from Mountain State. But Ross, great dude, hilarious.
Oh, Ross, the keyboards. I'd say Ross was the hype man of the whole band. There was never a second that the energy level coming from Ross was small. It was always high energy, super stoked, very talented musician. I mean, he always brought the vibe to the group. It didn't matter if someone's having a bad day or a good day or any day. As soon as we all got together, Ross set the tone for what we did as a band, and I think we all fed off of it very well.
Ross, total gummy bear. I love him to death. He's like a teddy bear. To me, I think. He's so sweet. Him and Amanda both.
I'm Dale, a band member. In my opinion, one of the least important parts of the band, but gave a little something on the side.
And then you've got Dale. Dale was a glue that kept it all together. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. We're doing this. This is it. This is what we're made for. This stuff we're doing this for. You know, even when people are fighting, Dale could just glue the situation back together.
Oh no, Dale. Yeah, no, so Dale was the late addition, also a sweetheart. Big teddy bear. Love him to death too. So I don't think he's ever been mean to me once in his life. None of them really, so yeah, they're all just really, really good people.
Dale is another great dude, funny dude, very caring guy, and super talented. That was a crazy thing is like a lot of us weren't playing instruments for very long. I played guitar forever, but I really only started taking it serious when For the Birds started. And then I'm not sure how long Dale was playing, but I think it was a short period of time. But for as long as he was playing, he did great. And same with Ross. Ross wasn't playing keyboard very long. He picked it up quick. And same with Ben. I think Ben only played drums for a couple years, and then he got really good really quick.
For none of us ever really playing the instruments that we were on before the band, it was really remarkable how it all came together.
And then Andrew Dale. Andrew Dale was the perfect like sprinkle on top of the band, and I've known him for years, and he's my best friend. I knew he played trumpet, and then he came to a practice and literally blew us all away. It was bonkers. Yeah, and he's just the man. And he was the gel for the longest. He wanted it so bad. He just, like, it rubbed off on all of us. It was, you know, contagious. So yeah, that's the boys.
Oh, shit. I feel like for me, it's scary for somebody to go from not playing in a band to being in a band to playing live shows in that band within a quick time frame. For me, it was nerve-wracking. So nerve-wracking. It still is. If people really, surely, truly do ever get over it, I think they just look cool, but inside they're nervous. It changed me. It was something that I could feel good about. When I would hear somebody say something about our show or be like, hey, you guys did great, it made me feel good. So I guess it really just kind of gave me a boost. Gave my ego a boost. Not that I have a big ego, but it made me feel better inside and outside.
It was a little bit of everything, you know. It was really exciting and I loved it, but at the same time, it's like dopamine overload, you know. And it's hard to do that for like 2 or 3 hours and then turn around and go home and just where it's quiet and everything's still. It's weird. There
were times where we were fully prepared, practice, sounded great at practice, showed up, kind of sucked. And then there were times where we went in kind of blind and we pulled it out, kind of amazed ourselves on the stage. So it was a total mixed bag. We didn't know what to expect, and we were all pretty hard on ourselves. There was never a show that, you know, people didn't come up to us after and say they loved it. So that was cool. But every single one, I think we all thought we could have done better. But, you know, yeah.
It was just another day. I mean, we kind of built up to it. We would always have a kind of small practice right before a show, just to kind of dial in a couple things we were making sure that we were all on point with. When it came time to show day, I'm pretty sure everyone had their own ritual of how to get ready to perform in front of people. Personally, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Like it was one of the best parts of my month, knowing that we had a show and I get to play live music in front of my friends. You always knew someone in the crowd. Everyone loved For the Birds. It was pretty great. Like, it did something for me too. And just knowing that the people that were coming to watch us were people that I've known for a long time, and even a bunch of strangers. The hype was always there. The crowd was always at the same level that the band was. So kind of getting ready for a show, it wasn't much different than any other day, honestly. You just kind of be like, oh, we got a show today. I think I had long hair at the time, so I was like, better put some mousse in it, make the curls look good. We were already ready before the day even showed up.
Yeah, I'd been on stage before. So, but you know, I think anybody who performs will tell you that there's something that's like nerves that happens, and you kind of get used to it. But like for me, I can't eat before I get on stage. A lot of times we'd be drinking, so I should eat. I just can't. I have no appetite. So that I don't like feel nerves like I'm nervous. I'm anxious to get started. I don't know why I do it to myself, but I get there like 4 hours early and I just hang around and wait. I get anxious. I get very anxious to like get started.
Yeah, it was like an escape. I worked 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and everything was, any of our shows or practices, they were always at night. So it never really affected work, or anything. It was never stressful for me. I was always just so stoked to be doing it that I didn't really care when it was or how it was I was going to make it. Super easy. It was super easy to do it.
It's tough to say because they were all like the same crowd, same people, more and more sometimes. But yeah, we had a really good, like, all of our friends combined, really good turnout like every time. So it was really nice. I loved playing at Black Bear, St. Patty's Day. That was fun. The revolving theme was making it 2 hours without having too many drinks, and I struggled with that a lot. So Black Bear was, I think, the best. The Mountain State End Fall one was really cool. Yes. And the one we did at the Rotary Club in Oakland, that was really cool too. That was, I mean, they're all super cool. And just small, Garrett County venues, but it was a good start. And to go back to the last question, no, or I don't know if that was part of this question. It was like the first. I've never done anything live, or performed, or concert or anything. I was in band in high school, and that's about it. It's a lot different than being at the front.
Huh. I don't know if I have a favorite show that we've played. I don't know, cheesy answer. It was it's just fun. It was always fun for me. I always had fun hanging out with the guys, whether the show we played was good or bad. I guess Mountain State was a pretty cool show because it was the most people we've ever had. And, it filled up. It was crazy. But no, I liked it all the same. It was great. It was a fun time. So it's hard for me to choose which one's my favorite.
I really loved the one here up in the nightclub. Was it a St. Patty's Day maybe? Both my brothers were there, which was cool. There was a few that were way cool. We had the one outside in Oakland at some festival that was really sweet. But then the Mountain State one was just kind of bonkers. Everybody was singing along. Everybody was engaged. People were crowd surfing. It was fun. It was electric.
Every single show was my favorite show. I think maybe there was one show that we did at Mountain State and people were fucking crowd surfing and everybody was hyped to the max. I think it was record numbers at Mountain State. Everybody was there. It was out on that little patio out back. And I just remember sitting behind my kit and we're like in the last 30 minutes of our set and I see all of my friends just fucking smiling and just dancing like nobody's watching, you know what I mean? That resonated with me, and that was my favorite show. Yeah, the crowd was just unreal. I was like, wow, how? Why? Yeah. I was like, we haven't been doing it that long.
Yeah, I think the Little Yaak River Mountain Festival, I think I said that right, Little Yaak River Mountain Festival, I think is what it's called, down in Oakland. We played that one and they had all the equipment for us and I set up all the sound ourselves and I got to record the entire show. I used my mixer, so I got to record that entire show, and honestly it was just a really good gig. It was early in the day, so we weren't like too drunk, and so we played really well. It was an older crowd, like 50 plus people there. People liked it, and that was really surprising. So, but we had our normal crew that we bring out, and they came and saw us, so that was good. Nobody was like and then left. You know, they were like, I can't believe I came out. Everybody stuck around, had a good time, and so yeah, that was probably my favorite.
Oh, 100%. Easy question. Favorite concert we ever did? End of summer party at Mountain State Brewing Company. I set it up. We actually had a full live day of music. Jesse Shamrock and the Still Brewing Band, Tara Crawford, a couple other people started out the day. It was a whole day affair of music. For the Birds, obviously, headlined it. I just thought it was going to be kind of your normal concert. You'll get your friends to come out, get a decent crowd. I'd say it was about maybe 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half before we went on. I went outside and I saw that there were cars parked all the way down to almost 219. The amount of people that came out was phenomenal. I was like, we fucking did it. Like, we're doing it. This is what we came to do, and we did it. It was great. By far a standout moment for me. That show will forever be my favorite. You could bring it up to any of the guys, they'll agree with me. It was something special. The amount of people that came out, the amount of fun that we had, unparalleled. It was special.
So my least favorite, I believe it or not, I get nervous as hell. And so I would be nervous and in my head and I would mess up. That was just, I hated it because I did it in practice or at my house over and over again. And then I would get in my head and mess up. But then my favorite would just be seeing people engaged. And then especially some of the songs where we did rap songs, I got to rap and people were engaged and rapping with me or cheering. It was, yeah, awesome.
It is greater than you, which means it puts a sense of responsibility into you to perform at your highest level because people came to listen to what you have to do. And for you to not put any work or any effort into it before you went out and do that, I feel like it would take a special person to do that. I feel like anybody in their right mind would feel the pressure and be forced to do it. And then through that, enjoy the fruits of their labor afterwards when everybody's like, you did a great job. And you're like, man, all that torture, all that time I spent on this one fucking drum fill, you know what I mean? Is all for everybody, you know, to just be like, yeah, that was awesome. You know, it feels really good to hear gratification from somebody saying that you did a good job on stuff that you put your heart and soul into. And then the worst part about it would be doing shitty, would be messing everything up. And then having people, I guess, recognize that. Because you did put your heart and soul into it and you fucked up a bit. I guess. I don't know. If you asked me that same question again, I'd probably have a different answer.
My favorite part was probably just playing with the guys and just like, that was definitely my favorite part. My least favorite part was probably playing in front of people. Like playing the music, but playing in front of people is definitely pretty scary.
My favorite thing the whole time was just hearing the sound that we made, you know, just making the music and hearing it come out of the speakers. You know, the cheers and everything are fun and all, but I loved when we made music, not made it, but when we performed and it sounded rock solid, you know, and that's something to be proud of, I think, for all of us, for sure. That was my favorite. Least favorite? I think my inability to control my drinking sometimes, that kind of got in the way, and then like I said before, just the dopamine rush from being in front of all these people and then you're done and you're just hanging out and partying with everybody and then you go home and it's just quiet. So it's just like two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So it was hard for me to like grapple those emotions sometimes, like settle myself down when you get home at 2 a.m. and 2 in the morning. And so that was probably the hardest thing for me.
I just enjoy playing instruments. So, I mean, I practice all the time. Like I just like making noise on instruments and I'll do it all the time. So I like doing that on stage as well. But what I really like is growing something. So like working together as a team and then just when something comes together really good, I just love that feeling. It doesn't matter if I'm in front of people or not, but I do like to see the energy of a crowd if you have never performed on stage, like when everybody's like into it and they're not just like having their own conversations, like they're just actually paying attention. It's good validation that we got our shit together. Like it's like, okay, a lot of times you think that it sounds good, you know what I mean? But like to other people, it doesn't sound good. So it's like, and that's okay. Like if you're proud of it, that's great. but there's something special of like when you're feeling it and you look out at the crowd and they're all looking at you and they're feeling it and you're like, okay, this was supposed to happen. My least favorite feeling is the exact opposite of that. When I'm like, man, we worked really hard, you know, we got a little too tuned up and things are falling apart. Usually at that point, it's the same feeling, but then I listen back to the recording and I'm like, ooh, that wasn't as good. But that's all. I mean, honestly, it's really, once you get going on stage, everything just feels good up there. I don't know why, everybody's just in a good mood. So my least favorite thing is just me being nitpicky, honestly.
The show's great. Everything from start to finish, it's fun. You already know what's going to happen. It's a good time. I mean, obviously, you got to set the stage up and do all that stuff. But once it's all set up and you're playing the music, the show is there. You're having fun. When the show's over, there's a lot of teardown that goes down. I mean, making sure that all the equipment and the cords are wrapped properly and the instruments are properly put away. And I feel like one reason that might be the worst part is because it's at the end of the night. We've probably been drinking a little bit. We've had a lot of fun through the whole show, and then it's over and everyone goes home. But after everyone leaves, we still got a lot of work to do. I don't want to say as a musician, but at least what I've gathered when I was playing with these guys, the most tedious part was having the most fun that you ever had, and then it's all done. And now all you have to do is clean. It's kind of like cleaning up. So, I mean, that's definitely the most tedious part, for sure. I'd say the best part was pre-show. The excitement that everyone had, knowing we were about to go play a show. We already practiced for weeks and weeks and weeks and dialed everything in super good. And it all came down to this one moment. Right before that moment happened, it was just me and the boys and the band, and we're not on stage yet. We're all together and hanging out and just talking right before we go on stage. Probably the best part of the whole thing is we're all hyping each other up. We all know what we're about to do, and you can already see the crowd. You can see the people. You just know there's just something in you that you know I'm about to go out there and put on a show with my friends, and there's 200 people standing outside that can't wait to hear it. It's probably the best part.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we tried many different ways to pick songs because, again, it wasn't easy. You know, same as I said earlier, you know, getting 5 guys. What is there, 5, 6? Sorry, okay, 5, 6, whatever. You know, getting 6 guys to agree on anything is very difficult. I don't remember exactly. I think like we were just like sending songs into a group chat, and then we'd be like, oh, I like this one, I like that one. We'd play them. If we didn't like them, we'd have like a vote. Yeah, I don't know. I think we tried so many different ways to pick songs. I don't think anything worked very great.
So our process was everybody brought a song to the table. And I think everybody, like if we had a show coming up and we had to learn however many new songs, we would each pick 3 songs. And if one person said no, like for a reason, like, you know, they were like, nah, I don't like it, someone else also had to say no, okay? So, and if someone else said no, then we just scrap it. So 2 no's, we would scrap it, and then that person would get to bring another song. So if like I brought a song and 2 people said no, I would bring another song to the table. If only one person said no, they had to try it, and then we would do it again. We'd like circle back around to it and be like, you still not feeling it? And they would say yes or no, and then if they didn't, we would scrap it. Because we didn't want to waste too much time having somebody learn a song that they just didn't like, because then we wouldn't get a good performance out of them. You know, at least that's how I felt. So yeah, everybody would bring 3 songs to the table. Then we would learn them all. We'd pick which songs we were going to learn like that week, you know, a couple of those songs. And not everybody would bring 3 songs right at once, you know, most everybody would bring 1. And then, so that way it was all pretty fair, but it also spread us all. I mean, we had so many different types of music that we were playing. A lot of cake. And Blake has a great voice for it, so.
We fight about that every day. Biggest fight we had in the band. You got to think about it in the sense of, take me for instance. I'm a brass player. We played a lot of cake music. Like we covered cake a lot. There's a lot of brass in it. I got to be involved. I loved it. But I also wasn't mad when they were playing metal and other styles of music that I wasn't involved in. I found a way to get involved, whether it was through percussion or something else. But I'd say the best way we figured out at the end of what we wanted to play as a band, we had a giant dry erase board in the studio, and we would write down all of the songs anyone in the band was thinking about covering. during the peak of the band, I caught myself just listening to music that I normally wouldn't listen to just hang out and be like, oh, we'd kill this. We would kill this song. We'd kill this song. So I would pick a couple, and for the other guys, they'd be like, oh, I know we would kill this song. We would kill it. So we would all come together, and I think we practiced at our peak twice a week, and we would kind of sit there and brainstorm, and we would write all the songs on a dry erase board and be like, all right, I think this would be great, this would be great. And then there was a point where everyone picked 2 songs. It was like, I want these 2, I want these 2, I want these 2, I want these 2. And then we'd put them down, and then we would sit there and listen to them. And we'd kind of be like, all right, I think we would do great on this one. We'll give it a check. And then we'd listen to one. And if one of the members was like, I hate it, I don't want to do it, it's gone. It was a good way to find a happy medium for everyone, that we could kind of be like, oh, I think this song would be really, really good if we played it. If the lead singer said, I'm not singing that, scratch it, it's done. Or if Ross didn't want to play the keyboard part, it's done. Probably the easiest to get along with, because in retrospect, everyone else in the band probably had the hardest part. I just played the trumpet. You know, if there was a brass section, I can figure it out. It was good. And they were always on board for the things I wanted to do, because they were a little more simple than some of the other things. Yeah, when it came down to it, we would just sit together as a crew, and we would just play the music and listen to the song. And if someone didn't like it, we'd scratch it. If everyone loved it, it's on the board.
We gravitated towards Cake. Cake's amazing, you know. Best live show I've ever seen in my life. They're amazing. And we sounded good when we played them, so it was kind of, and we all loved them, so. And Andrew Dale was rocking at the trumpet, so that was also, you know, just a lot of reasons we went towards Cake. Like I said, we did some group requests, but for the most part, it was all, like, we would mediate on these things and give each other ideas for songs. We had lists in Spotify, just hundreds of songs to pick through and what we were doing, and we would throw out all the time. And so it was a group effort, and I think we worked really well together to make set lists. But I think Mike still did. He did the brunt of that work for sure. I don't know what the other guys say about that, but
Obviously, we found the ones we sounded good at, kind of, like, we didn't stick in that lane totally, but we ran with songs that kind of sounded like that. But then there would be recommendations. We had a shared Spotify that we all added songs, and we kind of got to vote on songs, which was cool. And we got to, like, everyone pick 2, and then we'll try and learn them, and if we sound good at them. Yeah, it was kind of just a vibe. How do we feel when we're playing it? How does Blake sound? Because he's a fucking chameleon, and he can sound like whatever lead singer. So as long as he sounded good, I think we all liked it.
There were crowd requests, but primarily it was, we're all around the same age. We all played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. We all loved that ska energy, that ska punk energy. And so we primarily harnessed that and all those others, you know, that same genre. Yeah. That was pretty much it. We wanted high energy, fast pace, get people off their seat, get them moving, get the blood pumping, get the good times rolling, you know?
No, my friends and family were, I think the whole band, actually, I can speak for the whole band. Everybody connected to us loved it. It was crazy. The one outside, I think it was some fall festival, the one outside in Oakland, I look out in the crowd and my sister's there with her newborn. He's got the big noise canceling headphones on, and she's rapping with me. That was awesome. My girlfriend's parents were always there. Her friends, her grandparents would come to a bunch, and they were like, you know, stayed up past their bedtime for us. My parents, my brothers, yeah, everybody. I think we had a really good, you know, support system.
My mom was the biggest For the Birds fan that ever lived. And my Aunt Joan loved it. My family thought it was the coolest shit ever. They were like, oh, you're in a band? And I was like, I guess kinda. And I didn't realize at the time that the following that we had was a little significant. Like, people came to watch us. We had hundreds of people to show up to our show. It was awesome. I'd say my family was huge supporters. But at the same time, a lot of the families of the other band members were also equally as supportive. Ross's dad out there all the time. Barry was always hyping us up. And we used to practice downstairs at Black Bear. They hooked us up with pretty much a free studio, semi-rigged up to be soundproof. We tried our best. My friends also, like, after they heard, like, the first show with everyone, I would always have friends coming up to me and to my friends, be like, yo, when is For the Birds playing again? Where are you guys gonna be? It's the best live music we've had in Deep Creek in a while. And it kind of very close to home, and and pretty deep that, like, yeah, I get it, we're just playing cover music, but we took it very seriously. The guys that I played with were talented, very talented, from rhythm guitar to lead guitar to all of it. Talented boys. And it was kind of crazy thinking about being in a band with these guys, because when they first asked me, they were like, hey, we need a brass player. And I was like, I'm not gonna be a part of my friend's shitty garage band. And then I saw him one time and I was like, I'm in, let's go. You're doing something a lot more than that. So I'd say, like, our family and our friends were the biggest supporters of us. Never heard of any haters. And if they're out there,
I might type that.
But yeah, no, they loved it. They just said, keep doing it. Don't ever stop. It's kind of the rhetoric, you know, so. And I still get it, like, when you starting up again? When get the band back together? And like, well, got a couple other things to figure out first, but I hope we all get out there. I know Luke and Sailor have been. They just played at Moonshadow, their first show, Valentine's Day, not last weekend, but the weekend before. And I didn't make it out. I wish I could have, but. So he's still kicking. And I know, and I got Benny. I hope he's practicing still, so. We still talk about wanting to, you know, just priorities, you know, gotta get priorities straight first, and then the fun can begin again.
They loved it. Friends, family. I mean, they made the majority of the crowd every time. Mom has never missed a show. I don't think she ever missed a show unless she was out of town. But yeah, I think the friends and family, even if we were bad, I don't think they told us. I think they just everybody supported us, and whether it was good or bad, everybody seemed to enjoy it. But yeah, everybody was very supportive.
Mandy loves seeing me love things. So, I mean, she thought the performance was good, but when you live with a musician, the last thing you want to hear is the song that you hear him practicing all the time. So you go out and everybody's like, yeah, and you're like, oh my God, I've heard this song 1,000 times. So that's the curse of, like, she loves me and me doing music, and she loves that it makes me happy. But it's hard to, like, it'd be different if they were originals, because then she would know, like, hey, this is Mike's, right? And she can grow to love it. But just hearing this, and it's not like her type of music, you know what I mean? Not all of it anyway. So yeah, and I experienced that, like, in other bands that I've been. It's like the girlfriends and the wives of the bandmates, they're the ones who hear the songs over and over and over again. So, you know, it's just, and she would come out when she could, because, you know, we had a young daughter, so she didn't really get a chance to make it out very often, you know, unless we had a babysitter. So I think she does wish she could have gotten out to more shows, just because she likes seeing me happy, you know what I mean? But and then Mogi, who was my one friend who wasn't in the band, but I think he went to, like, every show. And then a lot of our other friends, they didn't get to see us unless we were playing at the bar that they worked at, right? So yeah, then then they would and those guys at Mountain State or at Moonshadow. So it was tough. Everybody, I mean, we played on the weekends, we played busy weekends, so everybody who was in the service industry, which is pretty much all our friends, you know, it was tough for them to get out to the shows. So
Oh shit, everybody was supportive. It was awesome. It was great.
I think just the first show that we did, and I don't know why I didn't mention this. So I don't know if we did it once or twice. I think we only did it that one time, but a little family festival called Tip Top. It was like some of Mike's friends that he had, and they were super great people. And then I knew their son, or his nephew or whatever, Stephen Mogi. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, that was sweet. We went out there for our first show, and we camped for 3 days for the weekend, and then that Sunday before the 4th of July was our first show, and that was kind of where it all started. And that was, I don't know, what did everyone else say? Can you tell me that? Or?
there was a moment, but there was a couple moments, especially, so our buddy, his family throws a event every year that we were invited to. It's called Tip Top. It's down by the Tip Top Yacht. They have a lot of different bands that come play, and some of the people that play there are extremely talented. And we were always fortunate enough to be involved with this event, and I think that's gonna probably be the best memory for me. We got to headline the end of it. That was us, like, everyone played, and it was great, and we got to sit there and watch our friends and friends of friends play music and have fun. And it didn't matter if it was their first day ever playing music, or if it was their first week that they made a song and they played it in front of people and it sucked. Everyone was there to hype them up and it was great. We were fortunate enough to be the ones that headlined it. We were the last show on Saturday and everyone was there for the whole weekend. We camped out the whole time. I mean, it was something cool. It may have not have been our biggest shows or anything like that, but the kind of people that hung out at the Mogies place, it was something special. It was fun.
There's just too many. I think just, you take it for granted because it's practice and it kind of sucks. But every single practice, there was something that left us all dying laughing. Whether it was trying to come up with a band name or just, shooting the shit. And of course, for practices, we would go and, kind of turn into a party night. So while we're practicing, we're all drinking, and it was hanging out with my best friends, being able to play music. It was fun.
My most memorable part, it might sound bad to anybody out there who's, listening, but I always got a bottle of tequila before every show. And the band would take a little rip off that bottle of tequila before every show. It was kind of like a ritual, right, if you will. I don't think Mike was drinking, so maybe he did like a sip of his LaCroix or something like that. But we would all take a shot off this bottle of tequila, and then we'd go up together. And that, for me, was not just one memorable moment, but like almost every single time, it was a memorable thing for me before we went on stage. It was like it was a ritual, you know what I mean? Like, we're getting ready to go on stage, get your nerves, get your head gone, to leave all of your expectations behind. If we fuck up, we fuck up, keep the show going. If we do great, let people applause. But we are going to go out and do the best that we can. You know what I mean? So here's to that. And we would do it a little sip. We'd pass around the bottle. And so that, to me, would be my most memorable time.
Memorable. Like I said, all of it was so much fun. It's hard to pick up a certain moment.
Almost done. It's only 4 questions left. Okay.
Only 4 questions.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Andrew. How about name your 3 top favorite musicians or artists or band? Top 3.
That's too tough. That's a tough question. You gotta do me like that. Saying who my favorite artist would be, I'd be lying if I told you. I don't know. Definitely Nickelback. Yeah. Oh, Creed all day. Creed Power Hour. Dude, Creed Power Hour hits close to home every time. I listened to a lot of Cake. When I was in the band, that was probably my number one, I don't want to call it a genre because it's a band, but the style of music that Cake plays is probably the number one thing I listened to because A, they're dope, and we covered a lot of Cake. So I listened to a lot of it. B, they had a lot of brass in it. So it was easy for me to listen to Cake style music and be like, I can present this to the band and still have a part because there's a lot of music out there that doesn't require a brass section. I was probably like the black sheep of the band. Every band needs a lead guitar, a rhythm guitar, a singer, a drummer, a bass player, and a keyboard. You gotta have those things. You can get by without a brass section, which For the Birds did for a while until I joined with them. Yeah, I'd probably be lying saying what my favorite was because it's a little skewed because when I was with the band, my favorite was different than what I listen to now. I've moved on into a different area, not playing music anymore, kind of DJing like deep house and techno. Like that's my thing now. I would never dream about even bringing that up to the guys when we were playing because we didn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the one favorite band that I've always had that it's really hard to ask a musician who their favorite bands are because that changes all the time. So I'm just going to give you some canned options. So I got my favorite band of all time just because they've always been my favorite band, not because I even listen to them anymore, is Pink Floyd. David Gilmour is one of my favorite guitar players. We have the same birthday. So the guitar player for Pink Floyd is probably my biggest influence as a guitar player. Wolfpack is my probably current favorite band. Anything revolving around them, just so talented. There's like a talented super group, and Jack Stratton, anything he produces is just amazing. Probably Miley Cyrus. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Cake is another great band. That's who we played a lot. We played a lot of Cake. So if I'd say Pink Floyd, Wolfpack, yeah. So my other favorite band that I was like one of my favorite bands as a kid and is still probably one of my favorite bands today is Led Zeppelin. So I'll just go with that. So probably Pink Floyd, Wolfpack, and then Led Zeppelin. And it's only because you made me pick.
Oh man, that might be the hardest question. That really might be the hardest question. I don't know. Right now, I've been listening to a lot of just some random indie bands. Good Morning is the name of a band. Yeah, it's super hard for me to pick. That's such a hard. It really is such a hard question. I like a little bit of everything. I'll say that, a little bit of everything. I cannot pick 3 favorite bands.
Number 1 right here, Turnstile, Baltimore band. Let's go. No, they might not be in my top. They're in my top. Yeah, they are. They're probably. I mean, God Bless, Bob Marley and the Wailers is number 1. And then you have Turnstile. And then I would say probably my 3rd favorite band would be. Fuck, that is so tough. Nazira.
It's okay.
I mean, because I know every freaking Beatles song. I know every Jimi Hendrix is amazing. And then you got, I'm going to go with Incubus.
Okay.
But I got to put Bob Marley at top. Bob Marley, God bless.
Oh no, that'll be top 3 today because it changes day to day. Oh, see, I don't want to pick all rappers. Yeah, I'm gonna go J. Cole, Lupe Fiasco, and Method Man. I know that's not what the other guys said, but there you go. You like gun to my head, ask me to answer the same question in 5 minutes. It'll be different.
3 of my favorite bands: Cake, Crumb, probably Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, we got paid for most of the shows we did, from what I remember. Not a bunch of money, a little bit of money. But the merchandise, I really had nothing to do with it. Yeah, I really kind of just showed up and played guitar.
Yeah, so a lot of it, Mike, who we called Band Daddy, footed the bill for a lot of it. So it was like, all right, let's make sure Mike gets his money back first. And then, it was cool the few times getting cash in hand, but I don't think any of us really, were ever down bad for the money or cared that much. And there were times I remember it was like, oh, money towards Ben's new cymbals or something, guitar strings, Mike footed the bill for a lot of stuff, so I hope he didn't lose money on the band, because I didn't really need money. It was fun.
We got $100 a piece per show, I think, eventually, and then Amanda had a friend that did all of the. She made shirts, some really cool shirts too. Cool shirts, awesome posters. Her and her mom printed mugs out, which I still have, awesome mugs. They did that. She did all that, and then had the merch table, and she set all that up. So, and then she got a cut as well. But that was one of the things Mike said when we were starting. He was like, "You can't start a band to make money." And I was like, "Well, we gotta make something, But he was right. There's really, you don't get paid a whole lot unless you're turning shows out. That was something I think none of us really wanted to turn them out. We wanted to keep learning new songs, give people fresh, new stuff to do, because it was the same people coming to our shows all the time, So give them something to listen to. I think we all felt the same way about that. Plus, you get tired of doing the same thing over and over again.
Fuck the money. Fuck the merchandise. It was never about money, and it was never about merchandise. That was just kind of a cool aspect of it. Money, we didn't make anything really above just paying for whatever gear or whatever shit we got, And then, honestly, I've got a For the Birds mug at home. That is my most prized possession. It's awesome. Amanda, thank you. Yeah, that's about it. That's the highlight of my time. It wasn't about money. It was about cool shit. You know what I mean? It's about just freaking the crowd about it. It's just about the energy.
Getting paid, we started out just playing real cheap because I thought that it'd be better to make a reputation for ourselves. By the last few shows that we played, we drew a really big crowd, which means anybody who was going to have us play there was going to have a lot of money spent at their bar. So we increased the price, doubled and tripled as we went along. It was worth it, especially with 6 people. We should at least be getting paid $50 an hour or something like that. You know what I mean? For all the time we put into it and the amount of people we brought. So that's what we were aiming towards the end. So it started out like, I think we played for like $150 Moon Shadow when we first started. As far as the merchandising, we just price it like anybody else would price something, with just a profit margin. And we weren't trying to like make a bunch of money on it. We were just trying to spread our brand, but we didn't want to lose money on it either. So yeah.
Oh, getting paid was sick. I'd say for the most part, the entire time I was with the band, we got paid decent for shows. It's Garrett County, you ain't getting paid good for nothing. We'd make a couple $100 here and there, and we all agreed that we would take that money and put it back into the band, which was a great thing because we had top of the line sound equipment and everything we needed. It was new, it was good, it was proper, and I'd say most of the money that we made in the band went back into the band. There were, in the beginning, there were times where we were like, yo, let's split the cash. And then we'd be like, all right, cool. And then you'd walk out after 2 shows with $200 and be like, I just got paid to play some music. Fuck yeah, it sounds, that's dope. Super dope. Cool, I wouldn't care if I got paid $10. I was already having fun doing what I was doing. The fact that we were getting a little cash on the side.
It's such a small town, and like, you know, a few of us are bartenders in it, so we know all the bands that are from the town. All the bands that try to get booked here, or Mountain State or whatever, they're the bands in the town. So it was cool kind of being part of a new young wave. Like we had, and thanks to Luke, we had a bunch of the young kids come out to all the shows, because they're the ones that are going to bars now. So yeah, it was cool seeing our fans come to our shows, which I guess you can get in any town, but it kind of hits different here.
There's not really a musical industry here, which is why I think it worked so well for us, because we were like, I wouldn't say that we're the best band in Garrett County because you have Optimus Riff, but then I guess Optimus Riff was really Morgantown. Wade Wiley, the drummer, Wade, you're awesome. He's from here, and I think maybe another one of them is, but I know Wade is. So to me, I was like, ooh, are they from here? Because they're definitely better than we were. But I think they would be considered an upper echelon of band. We just wanted to be the best here, right here in Deep Creek. We just wanted to freaking play music for our friends. That's it. We weren't good by any means. We just had a bunch of friends that wanted to come get rowdy and listen to music that they liked. That's it. That was really what our attractor was. It was just, I think if we went anywhere else, you know, we probably wouldn't have had the same outcome. Like if people didn't know us, you know, when we went to somewhere, we probably wouldn't have had the same outcome that we did here in Deep Creek. Our mission was to be the hoppinest, highest energy band here in Deep Creek.
It's cool because it's Garrett County. Garrett County is a very close-knit group of people. I mean, don't get me wrong. You'll have the other side of that, people that hate it. And it's just like Shelly. She hates live music and she hates everything. But it was cool because on the Adverse, it's such a small place. When we would play, we knew everyone at the shows and they came to see us and they wanted it. Like, we had people that were like, when are you guys playing? Where are you playing? I need to hear you guys play again. And just having that was, oh, you like what we're doing? All right, that's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty cool having people that like, they're not even your best friends, or like, they're like kind of acquaintances. Or like someone you maybe went to high school with 10 years ago that you never talked to, and like, oh, yo, what's up? You're in for the Birds, right? And they're like, yeah, we came to your last show. You guys were sick. When are you playing again? So it was kind of cool in that sense with Garrett County. It is a small place. You wouldn't think that Appalachian America in Western Maryland would have a following of people that were like, are you guys about to play a bunch of ska music? Yeah, I'm getting down. It was pretty weird, but in a good way. It was in a good way weird that we could do what the people wanted, even if they didn't know that's what they wanted.
Very unique, I think. And I credit our friends and family for sure, who they were the crowd every time, you know. And then new friends, they didn't know who we were, and then so we made a lot of friends that way too. So yeah, definitely supportive, definitely unique. And yeah, it was challenging because, you know, we did a lot of work, you know. It was a lot of work. Like if you broke down, back to the last question, like if we were to get paid by the hour, like all the practices we did and the shows, like it'd probably $1 an hour, you know. Something unreasonably small, you know, but it was never really about that.
This is definitely a weird place to try to do a band, because if you're not doing country or alternative or rock and roll, you know, AC/DC, whatever, you know, it's definitely hard to get people to come out because most of the bands around here are, again, playing AC/DC, alternative, kind of that kind of stuff. So I think we were one of the first bands that were really kind of trying to get out of that. But it definitely wasn't easy. We're lucky to have a lot of good friends, family who wanted to come out and watch us. I think that the friends and family is probably what made up most of the audience. But yeah, not easy to start a band in Garrett County. It's very difficult. Again, unless you're playing country. If you're playing country, then you're probably good to go. But yeah.
Yeah, being a band in Garrett County is really unique. There's a lot of interesting, talented people here, and you have, between the 6 of us, just about everyone who lives here within the age of 20 to 40 was our friend. So they would all, like, if they could be there, they would be there. And so it was just a real, like, small town, big county vibes. Every time we played, it was a party, you know? So it was really, really cool. But the other thing is, you know, you have these awesome restaurants because of the tourism too. So like at any point in time, you know, we have our crowd, which then like hypes up the people at the restaurant, and then like before you know it, everybody's having a great time. We were a fun band who played fun music. It wasn't the same old like bluegrass or like, you know, acoustic guitar guy, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like this was something that I didn't see very often. You know what I mean? So, especially this type of music that we were playing. So,
Ben, always. Me and Ben are buddies. I think we always will be. We have kept in touch since the band, even before the band. Me and Mike stay pretty close. We were in a band together. He actually recently just left. And then Blake, I haven't talked to Blake much. I'd like to talk to Blake more. Ross, I don't get to see Ross. Ross moved away, so I don't get to see him. And then Dale is a boss of mine for my side job, so I see Dale a lot as well. Who else? I always feel like I always feel like I'm forgetting something. I can't be forgetting anybody. Ross, Mike, Blake, Glenn, Dale. Nope, we're good. All right.
Oh, half the guys are my best friends. Yeah, I see a lot of them every day. Except Ross, he moved away. Still my best friend. I see Benny G every day. I'll even go play drums with him in his basement. I ain't a drummer, but it's just something nice for us to go do and hang out. Mike Fenton, he's the guy. Like, Mike Fenton's that guy. You ever need some studio time or a question about electronic equipment or something, it's like, he's always there for you. I'd say most of the guys that were in the band are some of my best friends.
You goddamn better believe it. Don't even finish it. Yup, fucking talk to them all. Love them all. Every single one of them.
sure. Yeah. Well, I went on and I joined another band a couple years later with Luke and Ben, and a couple of other people who were not. Sailors actually took my place in For the Birds after I left. He was also in the new band. So I kept in touch with those guys, but I mean, everybody, all the other ones are my friends. I just kind of dropped off though. I mean, I don't really, dad and real estate and that fills my time. So, and I'm good with that. But so unfortunately, and Ross moved away. Yeah, I don't go out in the evenings like I used to. So I don't really get to see anybody as much, but I mean, we're all on good terms. I think I'm on good terms with everybody. I see them when I see them.
Well, yeah, we all still talk, and we're all good. I had a little not a falling out, but a bit of a drunken rage, you could say. And this was after a couple months after Mike left, but I think it just got to be too much for me, and you can't stay unemployed forever, so I eventually did end up getting a job, and then was working full-time, and then was working 2 jobs, and then still trying to do the band, and still drinking way too much, and so just, snowball effect of stuff like that. But we still talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's such a weird connection you get with these guys. I think of them as all brothers. And there was a bit of a falling out, and it was bad for a little while. Left a bad taste in all of our mouths. And then, I mean, I can only speak for myself. Letting the past stay in the past and moving forward, I think my relationship with these guys, even though I moved, is stronger than ever. Yeah, and I love and respect and all of them.
So I'll let them tell you why it ended, because I left the band before it broke up. But I left the band because it was getting a little tense. So I was like, I'm just going to back off. And then they had a falling out with Blake after I left the band. And so they asked me to pop in and basically jump into Blake's spot for a couple songs for a show that we had booked at Tip Top, which is Mogi's family's. They have like a music festival thing at their property every year. So so we did that, and as far as I know, that was the last show.
Yeah, I won't go too deep into it. I guess so. I think it was after New Year's. Mike ended up kind of just having enough. I think he was having another. He was going to have another kid. Whatever. He had real life shit going on. So he decided to leave, and then after that, we tried to stick together. We tried to push it out, but everybody just had kind of different stuff going on and different things going on, and it just, I don't know, kind of just faded out. Sucks, but I don't know. Mike left, and then we kind of fell apart a little bit.
Yeah, so there was a little blowing up. I'm not sure how it happened. I know, this probably didn't help with all of us arguing and whatnot. It did get ugly for a little bit, and then we resumed, or tried to, with Sailor come in, who fucking kicks ass. I didn't mention Sailor earlier. The man. Just one of the best people you'll ever meet. And sick bass player. And so we had, a little Further Birds 2.0, and tried to make that work. But yeah, the end, it got a little ugly, and I like to think we're all good now. That's how I feel. So
Stress got stressful. People were dealing with that stress in different ways, and we were moving too fast. Out of control ball running down the hill. And it was hard to control it. 6 or 7 members. I mean, being in a band for any length of time gets very strenuous and very tough.
I got no comment on that. The band ended because it ended, and everyone in the band knows why it ended, and that's that.
Oh man, it was all me. Yeah, it was my fault entirely. But so I wish it would have, the separation could have been a little better, but it wasn't that bad, I don't think, in the end. And I do regret it, but at the same time, a lot of good things came out of it, even though I do miss it. And, there's still always the possibility of getting together and jamming. And, I can still see him. We can still talk, so it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I wish it never stopped. But I wish there was a way to I could figure out my own problems and be a part of that at the same time. It just ended up being a lot for me.
You want to say anything else?
Nah, it was pretty great.
Great. Yay.
So all good now.
I love all those guys. I miss them, and a little hole in my heart from all that, but that's what it is.
Just because it didn't last very long doesn't mean that it wasn't very special. So
I don't know, it was a great time. It was cool. For the Birds was the best, man. Sometimes I wish that we were still doing it, but maybe in the future we'll see.
Getting just shot too close to the sun, and then we fizzled out. But the time was great while we had it, baby. Yeah, let's go. So.
That's it. That was a good ending. Thank you.
Today is another day.